I know you mentioned a little bit about the squirts and orgasms thing, but Kachabali, can you explain again for those who are unaware, what is Kachabali? You don't mind.
Okay, Kachabali is a sexual practice in Uganda, a widely practiced or known sexual practice that is taught to both men and women for the stimulation, or rather the like stimulation and support to the woman to be able to enjoy clitoral ejaculation. So basically, putting it out there, Kachabali is the concept, or rather the practice of stimulating a woman's clitoris so that she can be able to enjoy multiple orgasms. So the art is what's most important. It's not so much about how the clitoris is designed, but it's how the clitoris is stimulated, so that Kachabali, like instills in the aspect of oral sex is not foreplay. It is sex in itself. That it is the end in itself. It's not a means to an end. So Kachabali teaches men to be able to understand how to stimulate a woman's clitoris so that she can be able to release ejaculate fluids and experience multiple orgasms through penetration. So basically, it starts with an external act. The women are taught how to eat for it to be able to be achieved. So women are taught how to eat a variety of foods, colored foods, especially in Uganda. The concept of eating probiotics is wide, especially from the West. So the Western women squat more than any other women, and mostly it's because of their diet. So women are taught to drink probiotics, and the probiotics are grain probiotics called Entuire, Bushera. Those are grain probiotics. They are made, and then these are probiotics that make women happy. I will tell you, because they soften them, they improve their mood. Something they drink in the morning, they drink in the afternoon, so they are happy people. They are softer. It's easy for them to surrender. Kachabali is easier when a woman is surrendered, when she's softened, when she's not hardened. So the probiotics do soften them. Then also they love, or they're taught to drink herbal teas that improve their mood, which later I found out are adaptogens. Adaptogens are herbs that help a body adapt to stressors, external stressors. So basically, adaptogenic teas relieve, or rather expel stress out of the body. Less stress, better capacity for orgasm for women. So women are taught how to take these different teas, one of them being holy basil, or one they call mujaja. Holy basil, they mix it with different other herbs. We have one called sensuous tea. I sell one called sensuous tea. It helps them also increase their arousal and their libido, their capacity to, to be aroused faster. So there's the bit for women to be able to eat well, to be able to also think well. So self-care is highly taught. One of the things that I find, Habib, now is most women in other cultures are not taught how to take care of themselves early on. So there's no pleasure in the body. There's no touch. There's no self-care that makes a woman feel good. But in the culture where I come from, the Ugandan culture, women are taught self-care that is for them. Women are taught to take care of their beauty. They're taught to be mindful of how they feel. They're taught to how to dress so they can stay warm, so they can be able to be soft, to be supple. So they are mindful of the foods they eat, the clothes they wear, the way they take care of their bodies, because of how they should be able to feel, right?
Mhm.
So that's on the part of the woman. Preparation. So the woman is prepared, and it's a daily routine. So then the man is taught about the clitoris. The man is taught about being mindful about the clitoris, not to rush it, not to get onto the vagina before it's engorged, before it's aroused, to be able to speak the language to understand how the vagina gets aroused. The man is taught to understand vaginal lubrication, we do not know so much about using external lubrication as much as how to prep the woman's body to be self-lubricating. So he knows how to bring that about and to use that lubrication as the oil that he's able to use. So Kachabali is about stimulating the legs of the clitoris from the lower part of the vagina coming to the upper part. So you don't start stroking the clitoris north-south. That is not, allowed. Basically, our boundaries start with that. Our sexual boundaries. If I'm a man who strokes you north-south, stand up, leave, girl. He doesn't know. He needs to go and talk to uncles. He needs to find some knowledge somewhere. That is a no-no. So for us, it's east-west stroking, it has to be slow, and then the rhythm rises, but then it rises more like orgasmic meditation, right? Really, like watching how the woman's body, rather woman's clitoris is rising. So it's east-west stroking using vaginal lubrication, meaning before there's lubrication, you don't start touching the body. Again, another form of boundary, which is non-verbal. So it's up to the man to do what he has to do to ensure there's fast lubrication, and then there's stroking that starts from below to up. The goal is to be able to stimulate the glands from the urethra to come closer for stimulation. So as the woman engages and as she edges herself, because he puts in a position where she's edged, like she edges herself so that the urethra comes a bit closer for stimulation. And that's very important, both for the woman and for the man. So the woman doesn't get slouched, just to sit in a way that she edges herself so that as he starts stroking her, the glands are also engorging. Because if the legs of the clitoris start getting aroused, then they engorge and then they swell. So of course, that now means that he's going to play more with the labia minora. And, as long as there's blood flow, the woman is aroused. So then stimulating the labia minora makes the labia minoras swell more, and then they sort of like create the magnetic touch where he's stimulating the clitoris but with light touches, the clitoral glands, like the clitoral head. So he's not hitting the clitoris directly, but he's using the swollen labia minoras to sort of like create that interplay, the featherly touch to the clitoris, which really arouses and helps the woman to build more arousal, so that by the time she's now releasing the fluids, it's much more that comes out, as opposed to fast stimulation or going on top of the clitoral head. That kills sensation. It kills the capacity to build enough arousal. So Kachabali is the idea of just sensually playing and mindfully playing with all the parts of the vagina, especially the labia minora, with the vaginal fluids, and being able to press deep into the labia so that the man can be able to stimulate the inner legs of the clitoris. So Kachabali helps men to really play with the whole clitoris as opposed to just the top part of the clitoris. I hope that does send something home for most of the people.
That was amazing. You said too much. That was great. I wanted to save some of that because I wanted to, we were still going to, I was still going to interview you for my institute. So I wanted to, but you covered, yeah, that was amazing. We're still going to, yeah, that was actually brilliant. That was like a masterclass in and of itself. But I'm still going to, I wanted to interview for my institute for my students, but you've just, yeah, that was brilliant. I don't want to say too much because you've said more than enough. And I really wanted to just introduce your great work you're doing and to promote your retreats. But that was a masterclass in and of itself. So I'm actually going to hold back some of the other questions I've got because I think we probably need to do another IG live, or also, like I said, I want to interview for my institute. But that was actually brilliant. Now going back to the retreat, or do you have any other events or workshops, anything that you want to promote or people? Because I'm sure there's a lot of people. And again, I know you mentioned the retreat in Bali. Actually, can you talk a little bit about that? I think you said this in November, what that's going to entail and how people can contact you to learn, or how they can get tickets for that. And is that just for Africans as well, East Africans? What about us non-East Africans? Do we attend? Or the women,
Everybody.
sorry.
Yes, it's for everybody, and it's for both men and women.
Okay,
So
great.
in terms of African sexuality and when as an African sexologist, we cannot talk about pleasure and sexuality without considering our culture and our history, right? So majority of women have sexual blocks to pleasure. Majority of the women have psychological blocks to pleasure. We have feminine shame to be able to dislodge. We have to be able to understand that the body stores a lot of tension, and that talking about pleasure is not enough if we don't talk about the somatics, if we don't talk about helping the body to heal, if we don't talk about integrating different modalities and exposing the body to some healing for about 5 days or 7 days, so that most of this tension comes out. So I find that people will go for a massage, or somebody will have great sex for a night, but that's not enough for how much we have suffered. We're storing up a lot, and I call upon women to understand that our nervous system is by far now the key to great sex. But then our nervous system is still hinged in stress responses of flight, of flee, and freeze. So there's something called sexual fawning. Majority of women, why there's a lot of talk about consent, we fawn. Women are still people pleasing sexually. Some women are not even able to say, I don't want, they freeze. They're not even able to express their desires, they freeze. You meet them during the day, and they're like, oh, Dawryn, I like that. I want my husband to do this to me and all that. I tell her, go and tell him. She's like, Dawryn, I wanted to say, but I couldn't say. And honestly, that's a body that is still high hung in freeze mode. They block out. They're not able to express themselves. So a man thinks she's in bed and she wants sex, but she wants to say no and she can't say no. So if we don't heal the body, we are still going to be having challenges of consent. Later, she's going to say, I didn't want. I know that I didn't want, but I didn't say, you didn't read this and that. And the confusion that men are having is that the body is here, but then the mind is not here. Then we have, so sexual fawning is a lot. Women giving into sex just to please this moment, but it's scary. Women giving into sex because they don't have the right words to communicate. So for me, retreats about healing the body. These retreats, the modalities that I pick are modalities that help to dislodge tension, trauma, shame, guilt, fear that the body is holding on to, so that we can stop releasing too much cortisol. Throughout the year, we are releasing too much cortisol, too much adrenaline. We are just high hung on performance. We are running away from who we are. We are still running on societal concepts of who we are supposed to be. And internally, there's chaos. Internally in our bodies, we have hormonal imbalances because we are still producing a lot of cortisol and a lot of adrenaline. So my call to people is to understand that the body needs some focus. We can't just talk ourselves into great sex only. The body is also talking. The body is screaming a different language, and we need to listen, So the retreats are about lending yourself to integrative modalities that help the body to release trauma, to release tension, that help the body to feel some love. Because women say, when you're talking about relationships, women say, I want a man who makes me feel safe. And I ask them, how safe do you feel in your own body? We haven't learned how to feel safe in our own bodies, but we are screaming out for other people to make us feel safe. Even if a good guy comes around and you're not feeling safe in your body, you have performance anxiety around a good guy, you're going to keep thinking the man is the one with the problem. So we need to understand that we are not yet safe in our bodies. We still are surviving things that we're not even aware of. So if we don't heal the body, still pleasure is going to be something that is a far cry, right? So the retreat for me are about concentrating on the body. What do we need to do for the body? How do we heal the body? How do we dislodge these stories from the body? So the Bali retreat is about that. It's about healing feminine shame, healing guilt out of the body, using feminine gifts to heal our bodies, understanding what sensuality, how can sensuality heal us? How can we use essential oils to heal? How can we use touch to heal? How can we use taste to heal? How can we use food to heal? What was that? How can we use creativity to heal? How can women be creative in their own medicine? How can they be creative in their communication styles? How can they remember what creativity is for them? How can we use nurturance? How can we remember to be nurturers as a society? How can we remember to be healers of society? All those gifts we have given, thrown them away. We're not using them. How can we use intuition again? How can we use it to guide us? How can we use it to communicate? How can we use emotions as wisdom as opposed to them being enemies? How can we use them to self-investigate? How can we then learn to communicate from our hearts, away from our heads? How can we heal their hearts so that they can give us the right information as opposed to giving us anxiety, as opposed to giving us fire, alarms and, rather fear alarms, So for me, the retreat's about healing the body, connecting the mind and the body in this concept of sexuality or sexual wellness.
I definitely think we're going to have to do another IG live before that retreat in November. That's I've learned a lot. I've even written some notes of some of the concepts that you're saying. I need to touch base on you on that later because I've been blown away. Literally, I think you've done I'm like, because I've been a fan of your work, but this surpassed my expectations. I'll be honest with you. So, and I don't want to ask more questions because I actually want to. What you've said is more than enough, and I want to do another one with you if you don't mind. One with my institute, and I'll do another one after your retreat in September, so we can really focus on the one you've got in Bali in November. Then also how we can get you to other parts of not only Africa but also in the West, because I think there's a need for your services. Not only not only well versed in the African arts and sciences, but also you can communicate really effectively that both I think resonate for both men and women, which is very difficult that I've found. So
Thank you.
a lot of men are equally as in tuned, and like I've received a number of messages that people have like found that some of those I can't repeat, but some of those, but a lot of people are really like impressed by some of the clips that I've shared, especially some of the interviews that you've done in your Pleasure Principle workshops. I definitely want to have you on again. Again, just for the benefit of those who have joined. So your upcoming retreat in Nairobi, Kenya, in Hotel Troy on the 21st and 22nd of September, and the 28th and 29th of September, which is in Nairobi, Kenya. But we do also, so Dawryn also does offer online courses. You can find out more about her programs on wellnesstogether.co.ke. So wellnesstogether.co.ke. Also follow her on Instagram. I've tagged her. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see in the comments, wellness_together. You can find full information about her retreats, her programs, Kachabali as well, when she's given a small masterclass on Kachabali, the art of squirting orgasms from Uganda. And again, more than impressed by your expertise, and again, just want to, if anything, help amplify your voice to get you, as much as I'm sure you're well loved in Kenya, but we need to get you outside of Kenya and amplify your voice outside of Kenya into Africa, other parts of Africa and Europe and America. It's been an absolute pleasure, honestly. Dawryn, you've blown me away. But we're going to connect again after, because I want to, like I said, interview you for my institute. And but yeah, is there anything else that you want to promote or you want to add before we wrap up?
Not really. Just mostly to thank you, to thank the viewers, to let them know that I'm happy to connect. I'm happy to be of help. I feel so energized at this particular time in my life to be able to do this. So I'm open any way it's possible. So the programs are virtual. The programs are not just for Kenyans; they're for everybody, anywhere they are in the world. Their payment plans. Payment is easy. We can do. Most people think because I'm in Kenya, so we can't have. It's not easy to pay, but there's so many now payment apps that I receive money from. So I have clients from the UK, clients from the US, clients from different parts of African countries, and so I'm not just limited to being in Kenya. I may be physically living in Kenya, but most of my programs are taken on by different types of people. So that's pretty much what I'd love to say. And for us to be able to open up to maybe my parting shot is for us to be able able to stop the fight, to stop the war, against men and women, to work together, to collaborate, to understand each other. We all have a duty to understand each other, to also use our history, not to use it against us, to be able to understand what happened to us. We are not, there's nothing wrong with us. It's just things that happen to us. So we have a duty to correcting them. We have a duty to giving a different mantle to the next generation. We have a duty to passing a different different message to the next generation. So we need to work together. We need to stop fighting. We need to stop looking at faults in each other and see the good in each other. And if we see mistakes, we need to be able to call each other out compassionately and stop continuing the war and the division. And yet we need each other. We need masculine men in the society. We need feminine women in society. We need each other. So we need to stop fighting each other. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. I agree with that 100%. I agree with that 100%. So yeah, thank you again. Thank you for everyone who's attended live, or those who are watching on YouTube. And again, thank you very much, Dawryn. It's been an absolute pleasure and honor. And we'll be in touch. I'll be in touch shortly. So thank you. I'll speak to you soon. Take care.
Thank you, Abib. It's always been a pleasure. All right.
Pleasure's mine. Take care. Bye.
Bye.